متعنا بالنظر إلى وجهك الكريم.
It's Ramadan. It's the season of sharing and caring. As Muslim faithfuls all over the world pray and fast, may peace reign all over, especially in troubled regions. Allah's blessing to us all. May the supplication of every sincere heart be heard. Ramadan Kareem.
Well, hello and welcome to the 9 p.m. news on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. First, the headlines. Former Senate President Saraki calls for investigation into the Natasha-Akpabio saga. Natasha-Akpabio, Akpabio's wife. Court stops Wabara's suspension as PDP BOT chairman. And federal government promises stable power supply at Ramadan. Army renames Ikeja cantonment after Taurid Lagbaja. Well, in business news, Buddy identifies insecurity as a threat to manufacturing growth. In sports, IFAB approves new law to curb goalkeeper time wasting. And in the world of entertainment, Peter Okoye denies responsibility for Jude's legal troubles. And now the news in detail. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki has weighed in on the dispute between Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Senator Natasha-Akpabio of Kogi Central. Saraki highlighted the negative impact the development is having on the Senate's image, integrity, and public perception, urging all involved to prioritize the institution above personal interests. In a statement today, Saraki stressed the need for an investigation that adheres to constitutional laws, parliamentary conventions, and Senate rules. While cautioning against undue interference in the work of the investigative panel, Saraki said the primary objectives should be to uncover the truth and protect the legislative institution from any perception of involvement in or tolerance of wrongdoing. In a related development, Action Aid Nigeria has called for an independent and transparent investigation into recent allegations of sexual harassment within the National Assembly, stressing that such claims point to potential abuse of power and a culture of impunity. The organization condemned the allegations and emphasized the need for a fair and credible process that upholds human dignity and accountability. Kogi Central Senator Natasha-Akpabio on Friday accused the Senate President Godswill Akpabio of sexual harassment. Speaking in Abuja, Action Aid Nigeria's country director Andrew Mamedu urged the Code of Conduct Bureau, the National Human Rights Commission, and the National Assembly's Ethics Committee to lead the investigation. The organization insisted that the credibility of the National Assembly was on the line and urged swift action to restore confidence in governance. Well, in the meantime, Kogi Central Senator Natasha-Akpabio has declared that she has concrete evidence to substantiate her sexual harassment allegations against the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Natasha-Akpabio made the remark while calling on Akpabio's wife, Norma, to distance herself from the sexual allegations controversy involving the Senate President. Crisis between Akpabio and Akpabio started when she refused a reassigned sitting arrangement on the floor of the Senate. The matter took another twist on Friday when she reeled out details of how Akpabio victimized her for refusing his sexual advances. She claimed that the Senate President refused taking her motions, maligned and intimidated her for refusing his sexual overtures. Reacting, Unoma accused Natasha of creating content for her personal gains, stressing that the lawmakers the lawmaker was lying against her husband. However, in a legal matter dated the 1st of March 2025 and addressed to Unoma through her lawyer, Victor Giwa, the Kogi Central Senator charged her to stay off the matter for her own sanity. She insisted that the allegations were directed only at Akpabio and that he should be the one to defend himself. Meanwhile, Unoma has sued Natasha for defamation and fundamental rights infringement at the Federal Capital Territory High Court. She's demanding 350 billion naira from Natasha as damages. Well, moving on, the battle between the Abia State chapter of the People's Democratic Party and the national chairman of the Board of Trustees, Senator Adolphus Wabara, has taken a legal dimension as an Abia State High Court has stopped the enforcement of the suspension of the former Senate President as BOT chairman. Justice LTC Iruba, who presided over the matter between Adolphus Wabara and Abraham Ama, restrained Abraham from laying claims to the Abia State chairmanship of the PDP and also restrained him from enforcing the said suspension of Wabara. In the suit, Wabara is seeking the order of the court to restrain the defendant from enforcing the purported suspension. Ama, while announcing Wabara's suspension, accused the BOT chairman of anti-party activities, citing praises for Governor Alex Oti's performance as one of Wabara's alleged sins. Well, let's turn to this report that says the All Progressives Congress in Rivers has welcomed the Supreme Court's judgment nullifying the local government council elections held on the 5th of October and ordering the representation of the 2024 budget. In a ruling delivered by Justice Jamilu Tukur, the Supreme Court declared the election invalid due to gross violations of the Electoral Act. In a separate judgment on Friday, Justice Emmanuel Akomaye dismissed the cross-appeal filed by Governor Siminalayi Fubara challenging the legitimacy of the House of Assembly led by Martin Amawole as Speaker. The Apex Court directed Amawole to resume sitting immediately with other elected members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. It mandated Fubara to re-present the 2024 appropriation bill to the Amawole-led Assembly. Reacting to the rulings, APC Publicity Secretary in Rivers, Chibike Ikenga, hailed the Supreme Court's decision in a statement that was issued in Port Harcourt. Ikenga claimed that the judgments represent a victory for the people and a step toward the entrenchment of democracy in the state, urging Governor Fubara to comply with the ruling without delay to restore peace and foster development in Rivers. And now the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, has promised that there will be a stable power supply in the holy month of Ramadan, which started today. In his message to all Muslims, Adelabo said he was aware of the challenges faced by Nigerians as far as electricity is concerned. The minister acknowledged that Muslims would need increased energy consumption during the period of fasting, adding that the ministry was working hard to ensure the supply of stable electricity during the months and beyond, while urging Muslims to use electricity responsibly and be mindful of energy conservation. Adelabo disclosed that the federal government is committed to addressing the issues of grid collapses while improving power infrastructure. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has urged Muslims across the country to utilize this period for deep reflection and prayers for peace, unity, and national progress. IGP Egbetokun said Ramadan, a time of spiritual renewal, self-discipline, and communal solidarity, presents a valuable opportunity for all Muslims to strengthen their faith and promote harmony within society. The IGP made a call in a statement that was made available to newsmen by the First Public Relations Officer, ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi. In the same vein, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has urged Muslim faithful in the state and the world over to rededicate themselves to God as Ramadan commenced. Makinde stated this in a felicitation message issued by his special advisor on media, Suleiman Olariwaju. The governor, while felicitating with the Muslims on witnessing another Ramadan, urged them to seize the opportunity presented by the holy months to pray for the state and the nation at large. And away from Ramadan-related reports, the Nigerian Army has renamed the Ikeja cantonment after the late Chief of Army Staff, Taoreed Lagbaja. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the decision was in recognition of Lagbaja's courage and service to Nigeria. Also speaking at the renaming ceremony, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, paid tribute to his predecessor, lauding his infrastructural developments while he served as commander of 9 Brigade. Oluyede said the cantonment was deemed most befitting to immortalize Lagbaja. Lagbaja served as Chief of Army Staff from June 19, 2023 until his death on November 5, 2024 at the age of 56 following an illness. He was appointed by President Bola Tinubu to succeed Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya. Well, you're still watching the 9 p.m. news on Voice of the People TV. Stay with us for more stories after this break.
Ramadan Kareem. It's Ramadan. It's the season of sharing and caring. As Muslim faithfuls all over the world pray and fast, may peace reign all over, especially in troubled regions. Allah's blessing to us all. May the supplication of every sincere heart be heard. Ramadan Kareem.
Welcome back. President Bola Tinubu has paid glowing tribute to the late founding president of the Republic of Namibia, Sam Nujoma. President Tinubu, who was represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, spoke during a state burial for the late Namibian leader held at Heroes Aka, Windhoek, Namibia. Heroes Ika, beg your pardon, Windhoek, Namibia. Shettima, in the company of several African heads of government, joined President Nangolo Mbumba of Namibia at the state burial where he paid Nigeria's last respects on behalf of President Tinubu. The Nigerian leader described late Nujoma as a warrior who galvanized Nigeria and other African nations to fight for his country's freedom. President Tinubu noted that Nujoma's demise was not an exit from space and time, but the wake of his immortality in the minds of Africans. The late Nujoma, who led Namibia to achieve political independence, passed away on the 8th of February at the age of 95 at a hospital in Windhoek. And now Nigerians in the diaspora have remitted over $90 billion in the last 5 years to support national development. The chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, stated this at a workshop organized by the Nigerian Institute of Social and Economic Research in collaboration with NITCOM held in Abuja. Dabiri Erewa emphasized the importance of gathering accurate data to better understand the contributions, challenges, and opportunities within the Nigerian professional diaspora. And now, Zero Discrimination Day is an annual observance initiated by the United Nations to reinforce the right of every individual to live free from bias, regardless of their background, gender, race, or health status. Here in Nigeria, human rights organizations are intensifying their advocacy, calling for stronger enforcement of anti-discrimination laws and systemic reforms in workplaces, healthcare, and education. In this report, VOP TV's Matthew Ngusuada spoke with an expert to shed more light on the significance of this day.
March 1st marks Zero Discrimination Day, an annual observance initiated by the United Nations to promote equality and challenge discrimination in all its forms. Established in 2014 by the Joint United Nations Programme on HIV/AIDS, it recognizes the right of every individual to live free from discrimination regardless of their background, gender, race, or health status. Discrimination fuels inequality, restricts access to essential services, and prevents people from fully contributing to the society. Through policies and collective action, a more just and inclusive world can be achieved. In Nigeria, human rights organizations have intensified awareness campaigns calling on the government to enforce anti-discrimination laws more effectively. Advocacy groups are also pushing for reforms in workplaces, healthcare, and education to eliminate systemic biases. Oladele Ojugbede, a legal practitioner, shares insight on the significance of this day.
And the populations of the have-nots, and no serious effort has been made to create equilibrium between the two. So, Zero Discrimination Day is important to remind leaders to continue to remember that they must, in their policy making, in their decision making, they must be working to eliminate discrimination totally. Now, with regard to your question as the common forms of discrimination people face in the world today, particularly in Nigeria, there are different types of discrimination people face in the world today. We have religious discrimination, we have social discrimination, we have economic discrimination, we have political discrimination. In Nigeria, for instance, you can talk of political discrimination. Without missing words, I can say categorically that since the 1966 civil war in Nigeria, there has been tactical discrimination against the Igbo community, the Easterners, from the federal level of politics in Nigeria, such that we are yet to witness an Igbo man presidency. And even though at the end of the civil war, the head of state then, General Gowon, declared that there is no vanquisher, no victor. But we have not implemented any realistic programs in that regard. We have really done our politics in Nigeria such as to show that power belongs to a certain group, and that certain groups are not, and their policymakers should formulate policies that will advance the interests of the large majority of the citizens, so that the people can be seen as happy people. But in situation where you look at faces of people and you see that they are not happy, it's a fallout from the discriminating policies our leaders have been implementing. Then the media must also sensitize the society to demand for their rights from those who are governing them. Because when people have access to plenty resources and people are not calling them to give accountability, there is a tendency for them to waste resources rather than spend it on valuable things that they should spend it on. So, the Nations is a world body that consists of all countries of the world, and they have a huge moral force in influencing decisions within countries. So the UN is encouraged to set up a policy which will encourage leaders and mandate leaders to be more responsible in their society, and to ensure that they implement policies that does not promote discrimination within the society. When we do that, then there will be better peace in the world.
As the world marks Zero Discrimination Day, it serves as a reminder that ending discrimination requires collective effort. By standing together, societies can foster inclusivity, uphold human rights, and create a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. Matthew Ogunswada reporting for.
Matthew, thank you for that report. Now, often working behind the scenes, waste pickers play a vital role in keeping our cities clean and promoting recycling. Yet, their contributions often go unnoticed. Today, as the world marks International Waste Pickers Day, we take a moment to recognize their efforts and their ongoing fight for better working conditions. And Onyidamola Olukutan tells us more about why this day matters.
Every day, across the world, millions of waste pickers work tirelessly to keep our environment clean. Yet their contributions often go unnoticed. Today, March 1st, we mark International Waste Pickers Day, a day to recognize their vital role in waste management and their fight for fair working conditions. This day was established in memory of the 11 waste pickers who lost their lives in Colombia in 1992, highlighting the dangers and challenges waste pickers face daily since then. It has become a global movement, advocating for recognition, dignity, and better working conditions for waste pickers. Speaking regarding their challenges and preferring solution is Mrs. Eno Oladmeji.
Challenges, when you talk about challenges, apart from the risks in there, because if you visit the dump sites, whilst the truck is coming in and they are picking, before another could get, they will have to sort at the dump site. I think it has to do with the sorting. An example are my boys. They pick waste whilst they are cutting away refuse from residents. So they pick. You see some trucks, they would have lined up PET bottles, put it on their truck. They have particular people they sell to. So those waste picker, once they pick, they will still take it and go and sell them to those that are recycling. So I think it's a challenge. So because if with a two-way bin system that they want to do, even an investor too will be able to make money out of it, because once you sort out your bin, it's easier. The waste that you take to the dump site will be lower.
This year's theme is Recognize, Build and Value, calls for greater respect, inclusion and policy that protects and empower waste pickers. Many of them work in hazardous conditions, yet they contribute significantly to reducing landfill waste, promoting recycling and protecting our environment. Preferring possible policies that could help the waste pickers in the industry.
Well, as we speak, because if there were really policies, I'm sure there will be, like all these organizers, they have association. We have an association, but being a waste picker, we learned, I've not seen them, but I learned that they have an association whereby they have who they remit to and the person pays them.
On this day, let's recognize their efforts, support policies that improve their lives, and work towards a more sustainable and inclusive future. Next time you throw something away, remember the hands that help keep our world clean. Support, respect, and recognize waste pickers. I'm Oyindamola Olukuta for Voice of the People TV.
Well, Oyindamola, thank you for that report. And now, former presidential candidate Peter Obi has urged the federal government to prioritize improving existing road infrastructure in the country over building new ones. Obi made the call in a post on X, citing the tanker explosion that occurred on the Ilorin-Jeba Expressway in Kwara State on Friday. You may recall that a preliminary investigation revealed that the tanker, which was conveying 33,000 liters of petrol, collided with a truck that was loaded with fertilizer, causing a fuel spill that ignited the fire. The former Anambra State Governor in the post claimed that a greater percentage of road accidents are caused by a deplorable condition of Nigerian road infrastructure. On a sad note now, 12 passengers were today burnt to death in a fatal accident involving a bus and a truck. Edo State Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Cyril Matthew, who confirmed the incident, said the crash occurred around a Iguavon community near an army checkpoint on the highway. Matthew explained in a statement that the bus, which departed from Zuba in the Federal Capital Territory and was heading to Benin, collided with an oncoming. He noted that the FIC authorities were able to identify the deceased through the vehicle's manifest and has since contacted their families. He explained that the truck driver and his assistant, fondly called Motorboy, escaped unhurt. The FRC sector commander went on to urge drivers to avoid fatigue while on long journeys, advising them to stop and rest whenever they feel tired to prevent similar tragedies. And here in Lagos, fire has gutted sections of a story building housing Agor Medical Center off Agor Palace Way, Okota. The inferno was caused by a power surge which led to a spark when public electricity power supply was restored. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency confirms the incident in a statement. Lasema Permanent Secretary Olufemi Oke Osanyi-Cholu said the agency has successfully contained the raging fire. He stated that no lives were lost, no injuries recorded due to the incident. Well, coming up next, business, sports, entertainment news. Stay with us. Welcome back. Business news now. The Pan-African Manufacturers Association has said that the persistent insecurity has constituted a major threat to the manufacturing sector's growth in Africa, citing violent insurgencies, political instability, and armed conflicts as key threats to industrial progress and investor confidence. This assertion was contained in a report titled "The Shadow of Insecurity, a Threat to Africa's Manufacturing Sector," published in its latest newsletter. Palmer noted that conflicts across the continent are crippling industrial output and driving away investors. The association called for urgent interventions to strengthen security institutions, rebuild infrastructure, and provide financial support to struggling manufacturers. Well, still in business news, the Nigerian Exchange Group has reported its 2024 full-year results, showing a 157.62% surge in the pre-tax profit to 13.581 billion naira compared to 5.272 billion naira in 2023. According to the company's annual report and audited consolidated financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2024, gross earnings more than doubled to 23.991 billion naira. In recognition of the performance, the Board of Directors has approved a final dividend of 4.4 billion naira, translating to 2 naira per share, the highest dividend payout in the group's history. Well, in sports news, Ademola Lookman was in action for Atalanta but could not help them overcome struggling Venezia as both teams played a 0-0 draw in a Serie A game. Atlanta needed to win by 3-0 to temporarily go top in the league table. Unfortunately, they could not break down a resolute Venezia side who are in 19th place on 18 points and are without a win in 2025. The draw means Atalanta remain in third place on 55 points, 2 points off leaders Inter and a point behind second-placed Napoli. While still talking sports, the International Football Association Board has approved a new law that will tackle goalkeeper time wasting. The new law states that a goalkeeper holding the ball for more than 8 seconds will be punished with a corner for the opposition. The new law was unanimously approved today by AIFAB at its annual general meeting in Northern Ireland. Under the current law, keepers should be punished if they hold the ball for more than 6 seconds, with the opposition being awarded an indirect free kick. In entertainment news, Peter Okoye, one half of the disbanded music group P Square, has denied alleged involvement in his elder brother Jude Okoye's ongoing legal battle. Recall that the second half of the P Square duo, Paul Okoye, on Friday accused his twin Peter of trying to jail Jude, their elder brother and former manager. Speaking in an interview with newsmen after the court sitting on Friday, Paul vowed to secure Jude's release. In responding to Paul's allegation in an interview, Peter's manager, Kush, said the case is based on the EFCC investigation. Jude, who was remanded in prison on Friday by the Federal High Court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, is facing an alleged 1.838 billion naira fraud charge by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Still in entertainment news, Nigerian music executive and Tiwa Savage's former husband, Tunji Balogun, popularly known as T-Bills, has publicly apologized to media personality Toke Makinwa for his past remarks against her. In a message shared on social media, T-Bills admitted that he had acted out of character and jumped to conclusions, attributing his actions to his deep admiration for music legend Two-Face Idibia and his wife Annie Idibia. Expressing his desire to mend fences, T-Bills also extended an invitation to Toke Makinwa for a private discussion to resolve their differences. He acknowledged that and his actions mirrored the very behavior he had previously criticized her for. That's it on the news at 9, but before we go, a quick look at the headlines. I told you that former Senate President Saraki has called for investigation into the Natasha-Akpabio saga. Also, Natasha-Akpabio and Natasha-Akpabio's wife. We also told you that a court stops Owabera's suspension as PDP-BOT chairman, and federal government promises a stable power supply at Ramadan. Also, Army renames Ikeja cantonment after Taurid Lagbaja. In business, we told you that a body has identified insecurity as a threat to the manufacturing growth. Also in sports, IFAB approves new law to curb goalkeeper time wasting. And in the world of entertainment, Peter Okoye denies responsibility for Jude's legal troubles. But do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. I'm Vivian Oguche. Good evening.
It's Ramadan. It's the season of sharing and caring. As Muslim faithfuls all over the world pray and fast, may peace reign all over, especially in troubled regions. Allah's blessing to us all. May the supplication of every sincere heart be heard. Ramadan Kareem.